believe that this video is going to find you well. This is going to be a very, very long video. So if you lack patience, please scroll up. But if you will listen to this video to the very end, I'm very sure you will learn something. This is part 6 of my own analysis and conclusions why students are banning their schools, why we have unrest in schools, and why we are increasingly harboring children who are rebellious, both at home, in school. So a disclaimer is here. This is going to be a very long video, so please bear with me. I want to say this. As a country or as a generation, there's one important aspect of the children we are raising in our homes that we have been missing. And this aspect is management of the transitions through which these children undergo. Most times, when these transitions happen, we are either never prepared to talk about them, or we are not well equipped to talk about them. Recently, some people came to my inbox and were challenging me that you seem to be having a lot of knowledge regarding what is happening in our schools. How comes we are not making any way into the newsrooms or these major YouTube outlets or mainstream media? And I will always keep on telling those people that these mainstream media, they are in business. They will welcome names of people who will make them get greater viewership and maybe get money out of it. Rarely will they be able to invite small boys like us. That is how we call ourselves. But that will not stop us from addressing these issues, because this is our country. These are our children. The schools they are banning and are our investments. This morning, you will forgive me because of my voice. I'm still experiencing cold like I told you last time, but everything is okay. We have to speak regardless. I want to talk about 6 important transitions in the life of your teenage boy or teenage daughter that you must handle with a lot of care for that child to stop staying a life of being unsettled. Transition number 1 is what we call life at home versus life in school. Dear parent, you'll agree with me that most of these homes, the way we manage things and the way we run things are not how things are run in schools. Most homes have got no rules. Students live or children live and with their parents like wild shrubs in the bush. Parents are pursuing money, pursuing businesses, pursuing deals out there, and they have replaced their presence, they have replaced their authority, they have replaced their parenting with what I'll call, for lack of a better term, gadgetry or gadgets. And they cannot be able to control these children because they want to appear as caring and loving to these children to replace their presence. So there is a lacuna somewhere. Transitioning this child from a home where there are no rules, a home where I sleep up to 11, a home where my clothes are washed every day with somebody else despite the fact that I'm already a teenager, a home where I only don't need even to feel hungry. I'll simply go open a fridge and get what I want and eat and enjoy. A home where my father and my mother has kept alcohol there. There are drugs there. My mother has kept alcohol there. My father has kept alcohol there. I see us going to restaurants with my parents and they are drinking and people are drinking and doing their things. I'm coming from that kind of a home where everything I want is provided. A home where even the phone I own, no teacher in the school where I'm going to be admitted owns. A home where we are given money to do whatever we want to do with it. A home where my mother parties, my father parties, and so I party. And we are a family of party animals. That is a child who is going to a school where there are rules, a school where there are no parties, a school where all these things that they have been enjoying at home is not provided, a school where now somebody is following you and wants to know what you are doing. Remember, at home they are neglected, they are on their own with gadgets and television and internet. They are going now to school where a teacher has to know you are not sleeping in class, you are not making noise, you are doing assignments, you are doing ABCD, you are properly dressed, you are doing all those things. That child, slowly by slowly, when they get to school, if that very transition is not managed, they become resistant to authority. They begin to feel frustrated with authority. They begin to reach a level where they feel like the school is becoming prison and their freedom is being curtailed. Therefore, dear parent, it is important that you remind your child this, that life at home is not the same as life in school. Prepare this child psychologically that, my son, or my daughter, here you have got access to all this. In school, this is what you should expect. If you don't want, read for that child what the child should be expecting in school. If the child feels like she cannot be able to put up with what you are telling him or her to expect, let the child decide if the child wants to go to that school or they don't want to go to that school. More importantly, remind your child this, that success belongs to students who learn to adjust without losing their value. Success belongs to students who learn to adjust without losing their values. So that is the first transition that parents are mismanaging. And so children walk into schools with mentalities that they have been having at home. Transition number 2. When your child is transiting from a private school to a public school, most parents have not learned the art of taking their children through that transition. In private schools, life of your child is dependent wholly on your child deciding to mature up. Nobody is going to help your child to mature up. You need to know all private schools are business enterprises. They are business opportunities. They are business outlets for owners of those schools. Your child is not viewed as a child who is growing. Your child is not viewed as someone who needs to be raised. Your child and you as a package are viewed as what? Clients or customers. And therefore, the customer is always right. The client is always right. Your child can be messing up in a private school and the teacher will find it very difficult to correct them, because even you, the parent, because you've raised this child without rules at home, when the child is beginning to resist rules in school, you are the first one who is going to force the teacher to apologize to your son, to force the teacher to keep begging your son, to force the teacher. And I said, most of we parents, we have got this habit. I will sue you. I'm going to sue you. I will sue this school. I'm going to sue this teacher. Everything now revolves around suing. These private schools, they will protect their name. They'll protect their business. They'll protect their income. If your child decides to become a vagabond, if your child decides to become a delinquent, if your child decides to become what we call son or daughter of a rich fool, they will get their money, which is the school fees. They will take your child through the system. They will drill your child if drilling needs to be done and results be gotten. They will dump back your bad behaved child into your house. Whatever you want to do with them is none of their business. How many private schools in this country wash clothes for children? How many private schools in this country have got washing machines where children wash their clothes using machines? How many private schools in this country spread beds for their children? How many private schools in this country clean dormitories and clean those cubicles for their children? So the children only wake up, put on their clothes. Children are even ironed for. And they go to class. In that class, whatever they want to do, nobody cares. The teacher is always a slave to the child. The teacher is not supposed to be corrected. Now, this child leaves a private school and goes to a public school. You need to remind your child that environment does not determine your destiny. You need to remind your child during that pep talk before you transit that child from private school to public school that we are going into an environment where there's different culture. In the environment where I was taking you from, you were few. And so you were not struggling for anything because there was abundance. A school where we are paying over 1 million shillings per term or per month or per whatever. There's abundance. I'm taking you to an environment where it is survival for the fittest. If you are not going to buckle up, you are not going to stay. You need to tell your son and your daughter that, daughter, son, I'm taking you to a public school because I want you to learn the ways of life. I want you to learn that in life here, nothing comes on a silver platter. You've been fed on a silver platter in a private school. I'm taking you to a public school where even the quality and the quantity of food you are going to meet there is not as the one you are used to. You need to prepare your child psychologically so that when your child reaches there, your child is not going to begin suffering from what we call low self-esteem. Your child will not reach school and begin to feel like they are neglected, they are rejected. Remember, in your neighborhood, there are children who are with your child in a private school, enjoyed the affluence, enjoyed all the good things in that environment. And at the end of it all, your child, their children, was taken to other richer secondary schools, private secondary or senior schools. You chose to take your child to a senior public school. Remember, these children or these sons and daughters of these people who are taken to senior private school, where they will continue with affluence, they will continue with the laziness, they will continue with that arrogance, they will continue with that entitlement, will continue interacting with your son or your daughter. Your daughter is going to feel like they are neglected, they are not loved, they are less considered in that family. As a result, your child is going to start developing what we call rebellion against you, rebellion against the school. They are going to become very sensitive to issues. They're going to begin working on ways of how to leave that school. They're going to begin becoming indisciplined or undisciplined so that they can leave that school. They're going to begin to devise ways of how to punish you as the parent because they feel like you are an enemy. Your child needs to be told that character matters more than school type. You need to remind your child that you are taking them to public schools because you want to fine-tune their character, their attitude, their survival, and their different view of what life is. You need to remind your child before you take that child through that transition to a public school that the eagle's greatness comes from its wings, not the tree it perches or it lives on. So tell your child that, son or my daughter, I'm taking you to this school not because I hate you. I'm taking you to this school not because I don't have money. I'm taking you to this school because I see you as an eagle and I want you to grow up with strong wings. You will not go strong wings when you are living on Blue Band and Cerelac throughout. Your son will go to school. Your daughter will go to school with the mentality of a man or a woman who wants to learn. Transition number 3. Transiting your child from day school to boarding school. Remember, I've just finished private school to public school. I'm talking transitioning your child from a day school, whether it is a day school junior school, to a boarding senior school. This is technically transiting your child from dependence to independence. You need to know that. And as a result, your child is likely to suffer from what we call homesickness and loneliness. As a result, your child may end up becoming rebellious in one way or the other. You need to tell your child that I'm now taking you to a boarding school where now responsibility lies fully in your hands and not my hands. you are going to stay away from me. You don't brush your teeth, I'll not be there to tell you. You don't bathe, I'll not be there to tell you, remind you. You don't wash your clothes, I'll not be there to remind you. You don't brush your shoes, I'll not be there to remind you. You don't work on your hair, I'll not be there to remind you. I'm simply, dear son, dear daughter, I'm handing over my responsibilities to you because I want you to be an independent man. Dear son, I'm taking you to a boarding school because I want you to grow through resilience. I want you to know how resilient men and women are made. These are preparations you need to take your child through before you transit them to a boarding school. You need to take your child through how to deal with bullying, body shaming, and surviving away from your shadow. Those are talks you must have with your child. You need to remind your child that the strongest tree grows because they face the wind. A tree that is constantly shielded by other trees against the wind never grows to become strong. You need to remind your child that. Dear parent, transition number 4 is when your child is transiting from a mixed gender school to a single gender school. You need to train your child the power of identity before popularity. You need to train your child about identity, how to develop identity before popularity. You need to take your child through the naked talk of what we call peer pressure and peer attraction. In this school, it was very easy for you to sit next to a girl or sit next to a boy. It was very easy for you to develop feelings for that boy in your class or for that girl in your class, for that boy in your school, in that very different stream. It was very common. Now you are going to a school where when you wake up in the morning as a boy, all you see are men. All you see are boys. All you see are girls, if you're a girl. All you see are fellow girls who are having the same body structure like you. What do you do to the feelings you had already developed prior? You need to talk to your child about that issue. You need to talk to your child about distractions and risky decisions that they're going to make as a result of this loneliness. When you decide to join homosexuality as a way of dealing with this loneliness, as a way of handling your emotional hemorrhage, when you are going, how are you going to handle issues when you are being recruited into homosexuality or lesbianism or gayism or single gender sexual interactions? These are discussions that, dear parent, before you transit your child to a single gender school, you must have with your child. If you cannot have these discussions with your child, that is why we are on social media to talk these issues with your child. These children don't just wake up one day in the morning and they become lesbians. These children don't just wake up one day in the morning and they become homosexuals. These children are taken through a transition, and because there is no voice of a parent to speak during that transition, the voice of a lesbian will carry the day. The voice of a gay will carry the day. The pressure and what we call the convincing tongue of people who are into these cultic behaviors will carry the day. Dear parent, have this candid conversation with your son or your daughter. If you cannot have this conversation with your son or your daughter, please introduce us into the life of your child. Second, last, and transition number 5, which is very important and which you must be able to ensure that you address with your child before you take them to school, is what we call financial changes in the family. You were a man who was earning money. You've lost your job. You were a mother who was earning a lot of money. You've lost your job. That job, you have already been sent away from your job, retrenched. You've lost your job, or maybe you are this business tycoon and the business has collapsed or the business has come down, and as a result, lifestyle changes. Even the school where the child was learning changes. You take now your child from a school where you are paying millions of money to a child where to a school where either you don't pay money or you pay very little. When those kind of things happen in the life of your child, anxiety and uncertainty begins to settle in. I once solved a case on social media here. A parent reached out to me where the daughter began to become rebellious. The father used to take them for treats. The father used to do very good things to them. The father used to buy very good clothes for them. They were eating very well. Suddenly, they don't see those good things happening. They are no longer eating well. They are no longer living well. They don't even go to school dressed properly. They don't get the right amount of pocket money. That treatment is there. The mother is quiet. The father is quiet. If you are not going to open up to your child and tell your child this, that my child, when circumstances change, character must now lead. Remind your child this, that dear son, dear daughter, hardships are temporary. We will bounce back again. At this time when I'm down as your father, at this time I'm down as your mother, what I need from you, do not add stress to my life. Hold on to my hand. My son, go to school. My daughter, go to school and fight for your destiny with the little that we have. God is going to lift us again. God is going to give us an opportunity to smile again. Let us remain one big united family. Remind your child that a season of scarcity is not a lifetime sentence. Just because we are having scarcity today does not mean that we are undergoing life sentence. Things are going to change. I'm working on something, my son. I'm working on something, my daughter. Me and your mother, we are working on something. We are going to come up with something. Hold on where you are, because everything is going to work out. Take your daughter through that talk. Don't hide, don't pretend. Don't put on a fake, bold face. Because when your child will learn these things on their own, when other children will begin to remind them, hey, mlikuwa mnakuja hapa na V8, siku hizi naonanga mnakuja hapa na motorbike, you are going to kill the self-esteem of your own children, and those children will not remain in school. Last but not least, the transition number 6 that you must address with your son or your daughter as you take them to school, very important transition, what we call family breakup. When you and your wife are breaking up, when you and your boyfriend or your girlfriend or the father of your child or the mother of your child are breaking up, you need to know this, that broken homes lead to broken children. Broken homes allow these children to begin seeing some missing links in their upbringing, and they begin to take advantage of those missing links and they begin to misbehave. Remind your child this, that dear son, dear daughter, broken homes can still raise whole children. The fact that myself and your mother, myself and your father, we have separated does not mean that your life has come to an end. He is still your father, despite the fact that we have separated. Respect him, love him. Dear mother, you can only do this if you don't badmouth your husband, you don't badmouth your boyfriend, you don't badmouth your baby daddy before your children. Continuously remind your son and your daughter that that man, he could be going through something that he does not want to speak, but I want you to respect him as your father. That woman may have hurt me, may have done something to me as your father, and so we are not able to live together. That is a war between me and him or her, should not affect you. I want you to know that we love you. I love you as your father. Your mother loves you as their mother. You are free to visit him wherever he is. You are free to visit her wherever she is. You are free to mingle with us as your parents. We may not get back together. We may not reunite together as one big family. But in our independent ways, we are going to love you, our son. We are going to love you, our daughter. Do not feel emotional wounds and feel insecure. We are here for you. I know your identity is going to be crippled, and at some point you are going to struggle identity-wise. You don't need to struggle. You are the son of so-and-so. You are the daughter of so-and-so. We love you. We raised you in love. You are a product of love that we had. Remind your son and your daughter this. Do not talk ill of the other parent who is not there. Even if that parent has been doing bad things and the child has been seeing, reassure the parent, the child, that these things are happening, but these are between us. Everything is going to be okay. We are going to work on our issues and we are going to be okay. You need to tell your child that hope and resilience is what makes a man. And therefore, you need to be resilient as a man. You need to be resilient as a boy. Don't look at your father as a failure. Don't look at your mother as a failure. We are all your parents. We may have our weaknesses, but we want you to be a better child, a better man, a better woman than us. Tell your child that, dear daughter, dear son, your roots may be wounded, but your future can still blossom and become big and become better. Dear parent, those 6 transitions, if you put them together into the very big picture or big conversation that we are having, those are the things that are killing our children in school. And I want to finish this video by saying this. I don't blame any of those children who are burning schools. I don't blame, and I'm not going to condemn any of those children who are being rebellious in school. I'm not going to badmouth any of those children who are doing all these things, because by the end of the day, I've come to realize that we, the parents, in one way or the other, we mismanaged transition somewhere. And I want to say this to this, our good government and overworking government. We are gradually and in full force mismanaging transition of what we call 100% transition. We are overpopulating schools without paying keen notice that these schools are overstretched and students are feeling the pinch and the heat. Dear government, you cannot walk into a school and you build a classroom of 55 children and a dormitory of 200 children, and then you give that school 500 children. These are things that are not just right before God. Our schools are overpopulated. When sometimes we see our government talking about 100% transition with the kind of capitation that primary schools, junior schools are given, and secondary schools are given, sometimes I reach a level out of frustration and say, why then can't we just bite the bullet, accept as a country we cannot manage free primary education and free secondary education, and allow parents to pay fee in these schools in their little way? Why can't we just come up to a level as a country and realize that not all children want to go to school, and allow these children, those who want to learn, let them learn. Those we have come to realize that they are not getting anything in class, we can find ways of how to help them. Because the truth of the matter is this: in as much as we are talking about CBC, competence-based curriculum, that is the one that is going to phase out this thing of relying on academics, I can tell you, for those of us who are looking at the manner in which this thing is going, we may end up having another 844 being called CBC. How many schools are ranking children? How many schools in this country are ranking children? How many schools are now doing remedials for grade 10? The government is aware that grade 10 wanafanywa remedial. They are aware. And money is being collected. Grade 10 wanafanywa siku hizi remedial. Time that they are supposed to be doing their things, wanafanywa remedial kama watu wa 844. We know these things and we are not talking about them. And when we talk about them, we are told we will be kidnapped, you will be what will happen, what will happen. Let us look at this country and ask ourselves this question. If we mismanage this generation, because I'm very sure most of us who are able to talk today and make decisions in this country today will be alive when these children whose destinies are being mismanaged today will be grown-ups. And they will be pinching us and they will be pricking us deep inside our hearts. During that time, let us not blame the devil. Because as a Christian country, we like blaming the devil. Let us not say that the devil has stolen the souls of our children. Let us agree that if we can be able to come together and talk about these transitional issues around these children, be it at the government level, government talking about transitions, be it at the parenting level, parents talking about transition, parents engaging teachers in talking about transition, I can assure you, as a country, we are going to address these issues. Last but not least, I had some MPs saying that they want to return what we call corporal punishment in schools. It is unnecessary. Corporal punishment is not needed. Corporal punishment has never solved anything. Actually, if it solves anything, it only instills fear and deterrence. But it does not mold character. Kiboko haijawai mold character. Kiboko only helps to do what? To deter the children from doing wrong things and maybe instill fear in them. But as a country, starting from the government to our laws, to the MPs and everybody, the lawmakers, the law implementers, the law interpreters, this is what I have to say. Let us start the conversation of how can we be able to help our children to master, understand, and implement their responsibilities more than they implement, understand their rights. Because as a country, we just woke up one day in the morning and we started head puffing children with their rights. Children right, children right, children right, children right, Basic Education Act, children right, children right. Nobody is talking about responsibilities. And therefore now we reach a level where now we feel like these children have become so much vast and intoxicated with their so-called rights that they don't realize that in them executing their rights, they are interfering with the rights of others, and consequently, they are killing their own responsibility. Nobody is talking about their responsibilities. Dear parents, dear listeners, I come to the end of my long video by saying this. We still have a chance as a country to rescue the destiny of our children. We still have got an opportunity as a country to correct these messes. We cannot be having year in, year out. Because if this thing, we keep quiet on it as now we are going to keep quiet, that when there are these things, what we do, we change Minister for Education, or we change CS of Education, we change Principal A to Principal B, and then we leave things at that point, next year we will still be here. And because these children have realized that the law is protecting them, they will do much horrendous things next year. In this country, if we have seen children setting dormitories on fire with their colleagues inside, we are yet to see children locking down staff rooms and banning teachers, or locking offices and banning principals and people in it. We have not seen bad things in this country. Because we've confirmed to these children, irrespective of whatever you do, the law always protects you. You are an innocent child. They know. We are talking about this thing and they're at home and they're accessing these clips. Let us as a society and as a community and as a generation and as a country talk about how are we going to help our children to master, understand, and execute their responsibilities and roles more than singing to people about their rights. Goodbye.